Hello and welcome back to the Client Code podcast. Today we have Dr. Robin. Guys, you don't understand. I know I always say this, but honestly, today you don't understand. I'm so excited for this conversation. When I met Robin, it was like a twin meeting a twin. Same thing, just comes in different shades. Same energy. I loved it. So I cannot wait for you to love Robin as much as I love her right now. Robin, welcome to the Client Code podcast.
Oh, it's so good to see you again.
Good. It's so good. Thank you so much for being here. Robin, we have a standing tradition of asking every single guest that comes on the show, what is your client code?
I could probably sum her up in some type of algorithm. So it's looking at life and relationships from business, neuroscience, and then psychology. It's really combining those three in a really fun, cool way to really achieve success.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we have a lot to pack here. Neuroscience, business, psychology. Where do I even start? Well, let's start at the beginning. If I didn't know you, okay, what would you say I need to know most about you? Let's start there.
Oh, okay.
In
I'm
terms
going to
of
go.
business.
Oh, in terms of business. Well, I don't know if I can separate business from personal. So my
Give us
mantra.
both. Give us the tea.
Yeah, my mantra in life is to lead with kindness, whether it's working with clients, whether it's interacting with the guy at the postal service, it is having that foundation of kindness. And the way I do that for my clients is to ensure that their best interests as they define it lead the conversation. And if I hear something that is so far away from getting them to the success they want, then I'm there to point it out. But it's not for me to be arrogant to say, no, that's wrong. You don't want to do it that way. It's to understand why they're approaching it that way. So maybe I can help them refine it.
Oh, I love that. Everything that we learn is kind of like a relationship, right? Because I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you this. Robin has this unique, really cool talent of helping you grow in your business, but also as if it's a relationship. If I'm saying the analogy wrong, Robin, you gotta correct me here. But it's really like mastering that. And she wrote a whole book about it, by the way. You should get the book. You should also in trying to sort of become a better human, let's call it that, right? What do you think we're missing from a executive coaching point of view? What is one thing you're like, gosh, I wish these people just had this key skill so that they could be better humans.
Yeah. One word, strategy. We wing it when it comes to our relationships. We're just like, we'll see what happens, or fate brought us together. And while those are lovely rom-com ideas, that's not life. And nobody listening would approach their business that way. They have a plan. They have a strategy. They have protocols. They have SOPs. They have everything in place to make sure their business is as successful as possible. But our relationships are just, yeah, we just throw it to chance. And it makes me cringe, Carol, because I'm just like, oh my God, it doesn't have to be that way. We could actually approach it with strategy, which then enhances the love, the fun, the connection, the spontaneity even.
What is the one piece of strategy you would say is really missing? Because I know we had a little bit of an offline conversation where I said to you, marriage is not hard. You just sort of choose it. Every day you wake up and you choose to be in marriage. So for me, that's my strategy. But what would you say is a strategy that you wish other people would employ every single day?
Yeah. And I absolutely, as you know, I absolutely agree with you. To set ourselves up from a neuroscience standpoint that marriage is hard, guess what? We've just told our brain it's going to be hard, and our brain is going to believe us. So it is a choice. It is diligence, dedication, nurturement, it's attention, and it's strategy. And while those are lovely, good words, they're vague. So if I could give it one strategy, the one thing of all the things I talk about, it is check-ins. It is actual, intentional, and purposeful check-ins with whoever you're trying to build a connection around. My book is about committed relationships or marriage, but it really is true for anybody, your kids, your pets, even your colleagues, your friends. If you want them to work, it is putting in the dedicated time to make sure you do the check-in. It doesn't even have to be long, 5 minutes of concentrated time where you're not distracted, where you're not on your phone, where you're actually checking in to say, tell me what was a highlight of your day. Tell me one thing that I can help you with right now. Tell me something that you were really passionate about today. That's what a check-in looks like. And that is the game changer for any relationship, including romantic relationships.
Now, I can see a check-in being used, like obviously in romantic relationships, but like just in life. Like sometimes you're in a team meeting and you have other colleagues and you have other team members and you're just piling on onto their workload and you haven't even asked them, hey, how's your day?
Right.
What's going on in your life? So check-ins they really are important. No, no, no. I love that. So we have the first critical thing, which is check-ins. And that you have to do it, guys. Today, point to self, go and check in with someone. But what if something is stopping you from checking in? What if we haven't spoken to that person in a couple of years? Or what if something happened? Or here's Carol's favorite one. Someone sends me a text message. I see it. I mean to reply and I don't.
I
And
just
I
talked to my
don't.
dad
And
about this,
then
Carol.
so much time passes, then I feel awkward and I think they feel awkward. And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And that happens in business too.
I
Sometimes you get
know.
a request and then things happen and you put it off and you put it off. And then you get into a situation where you're just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So any thoughts, feelings?
Yeah,
Hit
absolutely.
me, Robin.
It's going to be a hard one, I think, for most people. It's allowing yourself to be vulnerable. It's allowing yourself to say, oh my God, it was just a day. I'll give an example, Carol. A woman encouraged me to reach out to this other person. She's like, you're going to love her. She's fantastic. She started this new magazine, online magazine. You two should get along. So I proceeded to write an email to that woman saying, so and so referred me to you. I'm so excited to meet you. I used the wrong name of who was referring me, and I addressed this woman by the wrong name. Right email, got to the right person, but missed everything. And I realized it, of course, the second after I had sent, because that is inevitable. And when I realized it, I wanted to crawl into a hole. And instead I said, you know what? I am going to be vulnerable and embrace it. So I wrote her again and I said, so note to self, on a high brain fog day, no multitasking. I said, I apologize. I knew who I was talking to. I just got the details wrong. And she thought it was hilarious. And we had a great fight. I'm like, she's either going to ignore me because she thinks I'm a flake, or she's going to move forward. And of course she moved forward. And because she moved forward, she's the type of person I do want to connect with because she got it. She's had those days. We've all, when we put ourselves out there, so it's a friend we forgot to get back in touch with and weeks have gone by on the text stream, or a business connection, it's connecting at that really human level and allowing that to happen. And I don't know about you, Carol, but if someone's going to hold it against me, they're probably not the person I want to work with, because I get time is money. I respect people's time, but we're going to have flaws and we're not going to be perfect all the time or ever. So yeah, it's allowing
Yeah.
you to say, okay, if someone did this to me, would I hold it against them? No. So why would we think they're going to hold it against us? Make the call, make the text.
There's a fear element that I think also comes into play here, where we start to have these conversations in our heads and we're just like, oh, but too much time has passed. Oh, but this happens. Oh, what if they think of me? Is there a way that we can overcome like these little voices that are telling us all this whole conversation? I call it, by the way, if you've ever been in a fight with someone, I actually saw this on, I think it was Kevin Hart. Like, have you ever been mad at your partner and you're just like, where are you? They don't reply. Then you text again. So you're not going to reply. Then you text again. Oh, I see how you're doing. And then you end up having a one-sided conversation of
Yep.
text after text after text. That's the intrusive voice.
Mhm.
Like, how do we overcome that person and say to them, yo, chill,
Yeah.
let's do the things?
Yeah. So now you're getting into the neuroscience of it, Carol. And that's everything you're talking about is coming from our amygdala, our emotion driven part of our brain. And it undermines us so often. It's trying to keep us safe, but it does it in a way that's really ineffective because it hasn't evolved. It's our least evolved part of our brains. And so it's giving us all the what ifs. What if they're cheating on us? What if they are angry with us? What if they don't want to talk to us? What if they think this? All those crazy thoughts that then create a reactivity in us. So one of the most of the strategies I talk about, Carol, are so simple. The hard part is applying them and developing them into a habit. So in those scenarios, talk back to your amygdala. When your amygdala is like, what if they hate me? What if they're just busy? What if, they don't want to talk to me? What if they saw my text message and forgot like I do? You actually create a converse or a dialogue instead of allowing the monologue to happen, which is what you were describing. The monologue is just going and there's no feedback on the other side. And again, you've heard the analogy. We would never let someone else talk to our best friend that way. Like, what's your problem? Why aren't you responding? We would stop it, but we let our amygdala do it all the time. So talk back, say, give it the opposite possibility, because we don't know which is true. So the opposite possibility could equally be as true.
It's kind of like that theory where like there's an animal, I forget, it's in a box. And until you open the box, you don't know if the animal is dead or alive. Like it could be alive. You know what? I forget. But you guys get what I'm saying. The possibility is endless here.
Yes,
Possibilities are
exactly.
really endless.
And the
May
only way
I
you're
ask,
going
like,
to find out is through action. And that's the thing that stops people. It's like, take the action, find out. If it's the worst case scenario, at least you'll know. There won't be that uncertainty, because humans don't function well with uncertainty. We function very well with facts. And if the facts is still that, yeah, they don't want to talk to you, then and you can move on, and you can establish and put your energy towards a relationship where they do want to talk to you and they do understand that mistakes happen.
besides talking back to it and saying, not today, I'm not in the mood, what else could we use as a coping method? Because I feel like sometimes not only does it talk back to us, but it's like paralyzing and it stops us from taking action. And that in life, in business, and relationship, I feel like personally myself, that's the worst bit because now 24 hours have gone and I feel like I've done diddly squat.
Yeah.
So, how do we get over that so that we can step back into our goals, into our feelings, into
Yeah.
moving, getting this going again?
Yeah. The problem that you're talking about, Carol, is that people fear what happens when they finally do something, when they send out the message or make the call, whatever it is. And so instead of worrying about the end result, just do the first step. So in the conversation, when I worked with a couple a while ago, and he said he was often paralyzed when he thought his wife was angry at him. That it really froze. It was such a big issue, and he was often wrong when he assumed she was angry, but he wouldn't respond. He would completely ignore her because he was so paralyzed. And so we worked on, okay, what if you just write the text with no thought of sending it, with no obligation to send it? You're just going to write it. You're just going to write it out or write the email, whatever it is. You just do the first step. The first step is just writing it out. And then you can step back and let it sit, because sometimes it is just creating the momentum to get to where you want. And what he would do at the beginning is he would write the text, and his wife had the knowledge that it was very likely he was writing. And if it was a text, she could see the bubbles. If it was an email, she
Yeah.
couldn't, so they have that feedback. But she knew that later on that night when they were back home, he would show her the text. What he'd do is he would come in the house, he would take his phone, unlock it, slide it onto the counter, and he'd go in the other room, which sounds childish, but he needed to build, it was important for him to build that foundation. So he built comfort. So then he would come back in and she would verbally respond. She'd say, "Oh my gosh, what were the facts that you were working off of that you thought that gave you the idea that I was angry with you?" So they could have the conversation. It was a little asynchronous because it wasn't happening in the moment, but it was the
Yeah.
way that he was comfortable communicating and the way she was comfortable communicating. And they came to an understanding that he may not respond right away, but by the end of the day, when they were back together, he would give her some kind of response. He would give some kind of, whatever it was, email, and then they could talk. Over time, he started pushing the send button and she'd get it closer to real time. And it worked better because they had built that negotiation around communication.
I feel like a lot of people's problems would just be solved if they just communicated. And I know that's so
Often.
much easier. Yeah, yeah. Like a big chunk of them is just like communicate what you need, communicate your feelings.
Yeah, and
I
that's where
also
the
like,
check-ins are important, because they
yeah,
enhance they create time to communicate, and then they enhance the connection. So when you ask me what would be the one thing, it's the check-ins, because it really provides the opportunity for the most significant structure of relationships to occur.
okay. So, guys, today we're checking in. Make time. Put
Yes,
it in your schedule, put it
yes,
in your calendar, set an alarm. We're checking in. Be intentional about it,
yes.
right? I think that's the thing. If you don't apply it, it's kind of like knowledge we learn and we're like, ah, nice to have. And then the same thing occurs
Right. It's like when
over
you
and
go to
over.
a conference and you hear this great motivational speaker and you're like, oh, I'm going to do all those things. And then you walk out to the next session, you forget everything and you don't do it. Just as you said, put it on the calendar, because everything that's important in our lives is on our calendars. So yeah, put it as silly. I know couples all the time are like, Robin, we shouldn't have to do that. I'm like, okay, maybe, but is it happening now? Because if it's not happening, then let's try something different. Let's put it on the calendar and have that check in. And you used a word I love, Carol, which is make it intentional. And to
Yes.
me, everything in a relationship comes down to intention and prevention. You're doing it deliberately and you're doing it in a preventative way before there are problems. You're heading them off, or at least you're heading them off before they become big. That is
Yeah.
what makes relationships successful.
Gosh, you know what? My next question was gonna be like, tell me the secret sauce, but she just told you the secret sauce, guys. You gotta be intentional.
Yes.
You gotta be intentional. I mean, I know we said this in the beginning, but I really do believe that relationships are not hard, things are not hard. And truly, that brings me to my life mantra, which is so facts. It's what you don't change, you choose. That's why it's not hard. If it's hard, maybe you're choosing it. Ding, ding,
Right.
ding, ding.
Right.
But that's not, let me not, what's the word? Project upon you today. I want to know, Robin, from you, because I ask everybody this since it's my life mantra. What you don't change, you choose. I'd love to know from you. What are you choosing today?
Well, today's wow, great question for a weird day, Carol. So I woke up filled with fear, filled with what ifs, filled with worries. So I am choosing productivity and peace, which sounds weird. I am choosing to remind myself that it's a step-by-step process. And every little thing I do gets me closer to my overall goal. So even if it's small things, that's what gets me here. And you were part of that because I woke up and I'm like, I just want to cancel everything. I just want to be a day where I'm just writing and I'm not talking to anyone. And I'm like, nope. I know the vibe of Kara. I'm going to get the energy. And it's also one of those steps towards productivity. And so thank you for making that happen.
Thank you for being here and like helping us with relationships, with life, and seeing how we can
My
use both
pleasure.
in business and in relationship, whatever you want to call that relationship. Honestly, guys, Robin is a vibe. Please go check her out. All her details will be in all the things. But more important than that, go get her book. She's a whole author. Guys, an author. I
Hey,
mean,
I'll make it
she,
easy. I will give you a discount code you can put in the notes and people can get a discount on the book. So there you go.
there we go. Today we talk about being intentional. We spoke about taking one small step at a time. So I want you to today to go and grab that discount code and go and take intentional action and go and be the person you know you're meant to be. One little step at a time. Okay. Now that I've left you with some homework, I want to say thank you so much for joining me once again on the Client Code. My name is Carol Kabaale, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.